Over the last several years, Google has done something rather strange with their flagship Pixel devices. The Pixel 4 launched at $799 and then $899 for the XL version. The Pixel 5 was sort of a step back. It was kind of like a mid-range sort of device, and it was actually cheaper. It was $699. And then the Pixel 6 and 7 were both $599, with, of course, the Pro model coming in at $899. Their entry-level device from the Pixel 4 to the Pixel 7 actually went down in price. And what did we see along that same timeline? Was that these devices, the Pixel 6 sold really well. The Pixel 7 apparently sold even better than that. Google is currently selling more phones than they've ever sold before. And I think a lot of this has to do with the price. Obviously, I think that the devices are really quite good these days, but that price is really not going to be hurting them. Now, all that being said, I don't know if it was ever reasonable for us to expect that to continue in perpetuity. Let's look at a company like OnePlus for a similar example. They were always, pushing the flagship stuff with a few cut corners at a cheaper price, and they kept going up and up and up and up and up in price until eventually they were pricing their devices pretty much exactly like any other modern flagship. When you're competing in North America against the likes of Apple and Samsung is extremely aggressive with their trade-in values and things like that to keep people sort of trapped in the Samsung ecosystem. And of course, Apple just does whatever Apple wants, and they're going to be successful at doing that. You have to do something to undercut them, to build your base. And I think that Google's plan quite clearly was to undercut everybody in price. You could say that the Pixel 7 Pro versus the S23 Ultra was a really compelling comparison, but then you could turn around and say, the Pixel 7 Pro was a lot cheaper than the S23 Ultra, and so some people might lean that way. It's a great phone for a really great price. But of course, what I'm getting at here is that it's reasonable to expect these prices to indeed slowly go up, and that is what we are now hearing as far as the rumors regarding the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro. I've created this little table to try and sort of communicate this in a more clear fashion, and we're getting some information from two different places. So we're going to start with dollars, okay, over in North America. So the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro, these were our launch prices, $599 and $899. Now, as you can see in Europe, it was 649 euros and 899 euros. But again, we're going to push those to the side for now. What is the price we're expecting in North America for the 8 and the 8 Pro? Well, according to some leaks like this one from Yogesh Brar back in July, $649 to $699 for the Pixel 8. If we take that exact same price increase, which is something that Anthony the Galax on Twitter, who is another fairly reputable tech leaker, they did the exact same thing I'm doing. What you wind up with is a price for these devices of $649 to $699 and $949 to $999, depending on if it's $50 or $100. And as you can see there, $50 to $100 increase on both of these devices. Now, what about on the European devices? What kind of price increase are we expecting there? Well, you can see here there are a couple of very strange numbers, 710 euro and 1,004 euros. Let's talk about where we're getting those numbers from. This is a report from The Tech Outlook, which is a website that I must admit I don't know a ton about, but if we scroll down, we can see images of where they are getting this from. And thanks to this individual on Twitter, I do know where this website is. This is a website called microaid.ie. And if you look at this, I have Dark Reader as an extension, so I'm in a forced dark mode. But if you look at these images, it's clear that this is the same website that we are looking at. And that is basically where these prices are coming from. This website has listings up for these devices, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro, and they have these prices listed. Now, if you look, 772 euro and 73 cents or 950.46. These are really, really weird prices. So let's go back to these European numbers. And I said that they're really weird. 710 euros just is a weird number. So what we're going to do is we're going to normalize them. We're going to round them to the nearest 99, as Google always uses. So 710 would become 699 and 1004 would become 999. I think that that is fairly reasonable. So if we take those numbers and look at our increases, 699 used to be 649. That is a 50 euro increase. 999 used to be 899. That is a 100 euro increase. We are right in the same range as our reported prices in dollars. Now, things do get a little bit complicated here, and I think this is where the confusion is coming in, and this is where I am absolutely shooting from the hip and hypothesizing. Because if you go to the Google Store, the UK version of the Google Store, and you look at their prices, you put any object you want into your shopping cart or your basket, as it quite adorably says on the UK version of the websites, it will clearly state that their prices include VAT, which are their taxes. Now, if we go back to that MicroAid website, you will see the price, and then you will see it says another number, which is higher, including VAT. So if we go back to these rumored prices, so my $6.99 and my $9.99, is it possible that we need to add an additional 21, 22, 23% onto those prices, which would mean that rather than the price increase in Europe being bang on with the other rumors about the United States, it would mean they're actually going to be way higher than that for some reason. Is this reasonable? Does this make sense? I say, no, it does not. This is my hypothesis, my idea. I think MicroAid is mistakenly listing a price here that adds taxes on top of a price that already has taxes. I think that they're taxing it twice. So like I said, I could be wrong about this. This is nothing more than a hypothesis. But we had prior reporting, $50 to $100. And if you assume I'm right about this, these new leaks, these listings line up almost perfectly. Again, so we have to assume that one, I'm right about them double taxing it. And then you also have to assume that their numbers are just weird and you have to kind of round them to $11 and $5. So they come within $11 and $5 of lining up perfectly with the earlier rumors. This is a messy hypothesis, but I think it's going to actually end up being correct. So now let's take these numbers, these new numbers that we have, $6.99 and $9.99. Let's just assume those are the numbers. And let's compare them to the other big competitors, like Samsung with their Galaxy S23 line. Let's assume the S24 line maintains the same pricing structure, which I think is reasonable. And let's look at those prices now as well. So the S23 launched at $799. Well, that is $100 more than the Pixel 8 is presumably going to launch at. Still, we are still undercutting them. The S23 Plus is $999. That is the same price as the Pixel 8 Pro is presumably going to launch at. And then, of course, $1199 for the S23 Ultra. We are considerably cheaper yet still than that device. So when these numbers first got leaked, I think there was a lot of confusion. I think rather than people seeing a $50 to $100 price increase that would still have it be cheaper than the other competitors like the Galaxy S24 series, they saw something that indicated that Google was going to be radically increasing their prices because, again, I think that the numbers we're looking at are being taxed twice, and there's a lot of confusion from American consumers. I know I was confused. It took me like a couple of days of like reading and Googling to like come to this conclusion. I think there was a lot of confusion, and people thought the prices were going up way more than I think they're actually going to go up. And I think that if it's only what we're saying in this video, $50 to $100, I think that the value proposition is still very strong. The Pixel 8 should be a pretty decent improvement over the Pixel 7. There are some nice improvements to be had here. And of course, the price is still going to be undercutting Samsung. Now, if you want a breakdown of sort of the leaks about what is changing with the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro, this video should be in a playlist with those other videos. I'll try to remember to put links to them in the description down below because I've gone over this stuff already. Improvements to the cameras. Of course, the system on a chip, Tensor G3, should be fairly improved. Improvements to the screen and brightness. There's a lot going on with these devices that might make a $50 or $100 price increase seem fairly reasonable, again, when compared against its competitors that are still going to be more expensive. than they are. So guys, that's where we are. That's my best attempt at piecing together what the prices of these devices are going to be. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy and you think that $50 or $100 is going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Personally, I think that the 6 sold well, the 7 sold better. The 8 is going to be an improved device. I don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal to people buying it, but maybe I'm crazy. Again, you can tell me that in the comments down below. Guys, subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, man.